And a lot of people, everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, but do you have what it takes to really, take that leap? So talk to us about that.
Yeah, when this question does come up, either from especially my children's friends or people
Yeah.
that know me, I always tell them, go ahead and start. The sooner you start, the better, because you're going to fail. You're going to
Yeah.
fail so many times, and then eventually you're going to get callous to it. But with me, the experience that I've gained, if I look at where I am today and what I'm doing, I was created for this, as an asthmatic, as seeing what happened to my family members, and getting into the field. I had a background in sales and in business, and just applying that over time and over the decades to get to this point, and not to be impatient. To go out there, expect to fail, and not to be impatient, and just keep doing your best every single day. And that's exactly what's happened with Zippix. Zippix has gone through so many valleys and not as many successes, but the opportunities, the times that I've wanted to quit were huge. From the time that I took every penny that I had, and I put it into it and went after the retail. And one of the first chains I ever got was Circle K. I went into Circle K and met with them and presented it to them, and they were like, "Hey, let's do it." I gave them pricing and everything, and then they said, "Oh, by the way, here's your distributor." Not knowing that there was even such a thing as a distributor, and how that even worked. And then the price that I gave them, really, it's not the price. After I got after the distributor takes their big piece, it's like
Yeah.
that was a challenge. And then that actually happened at around the time that the BP oil spill hit. I don't know if you remember that. It affected the Gulf of Mexico. And then all the Circle K chain that I had was the Gulf Coast Circle Ks. And one of the things that happened is they pulled most of their, other than the milk and bread and gas and beer, they pulled a lot of products, and mine was one of them. And so that really hit me straight on the chin. But the failures, and then after that, coming from and starting in a healthcare type environment, I really wanted to bring the product to healthcare entities. There's a lot of companies out there. They do kind of dock in the box. They actually affiliate themselves with large plants, in working with some of them. And I've worked with some of them, but you're always kind of looked down on as a tobacco product, and not
Right.
an
Right.
FDA approved pharmaceutical product. And so those challenges were difficult. I knew what we did. I knew that we've helped people. I knew that this product would work. And when you bring that kind of information and knowledge to people you want to work with, and they kind of look at you like, you're just a gas station cigarette. It was difficult to deal with, and especially when you've got it all on the line, and you're going for it every single day. It was difficult to be able to deal with that. But you just persevere. You just keep moving forward. You find that customer that'll work for you. And like you said, we were fortunate to find it online, that the message was at a great time, that people needed to hear it. And so, going back to timing, but
Yeah.
without that persistency, I continue to work on the product. I continue to improve the product constantly, trying to get it to a point where it was the best that it could possibly be. And that, those times when I wasn't being successful in selling and moving the product, I was focused on making the best product. And now that obviously has paid off for me, putting all that time and work in. But, it's hard doing what we do, finding a place to market, even in the infusion process of the toothpick, the length that it takes. But, I found that when you do hard things, it's a lot of people don't follow you. When you do hard things,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
like taking the easier paths.
Want the full truth? Watch the full Deep Shallow Dive interview next. And hit subscribe if you're done with narratives and ready to call a spade a spade.